to refer to portions of his journal. And feel free, if you have written notes in front of you, to refer to it.
Okay. Yes, sir.
We're gonna start with page 22 of exhibit 3. Looking at the screen, sir, can you tell us please what the defendant wrote?
Yes, he wrote, excuse me. I want to shoot up the fucking school so badly. Soon I'm going to buy a 9mm pistol.
Now, further down on page 22, can you please tell us what the defendant wrote?
Yes. Ready and the 9mm ready. Then I will walk behind any girl, pretty in parentheses, and shoot them in the back of the head. I will then shoot anyone I see, aiming for the head until I have to reload. I will then find a full class.
Lieutenant, the defendant indicated he wanted to aim for the head and then turn the firearm onto classrooms.
Yes, sir.
First, I'm going to refer you to exhibits 4, 5, and 6. Those are the autopsy protocols of the murdered children. Sir, you reviewed these?
I have.
Now, out of the 4 murdered children, how many were shot in the head? 3 of those individuals were shot in the head, is that right?
That's right, yes.
And then out of the 7 wounded, an additional 3 were shot in the upper extremities, neck, face, or head area, is that right?
Correct.
Now, he also wrote in the passage about wanting to turn the firearm into the classroom. Did you find evidence in the school that the defendant actually did that?
Yes, sir, we did.
We're going to refer to you to exhibit 8 on the screen. What is this photograph of?
So our forensic lab who processed the scene, that is a rod that indicates the direction of travel from a fired round. So as you can see, the fired round went through that, the little steel barrier outside the door, 247.
And this is classroom 244. What are we looking at here?
A similar thing, but this time it went through the glass.
And this is classroom, or this is office 224, and this is Miss Molly Darnell's, is that right?
That's correct, sir. And there's 3 rods through that door, indicating 3 rounds penetrated that door.
And this is classroom 223. What are we looking at here?
Yeah, that appears to be a round that didn't penetrate all the way through the door, but was obviously shot at.
And then 220, what do we have down here?
Again, we have an additional round that was fired through a door.
Finally, classroom 215.
Yeah, we have 3 more rounds fired into the glass partition outside of in the classroom, I should say.
Now, Lieutenant, it's true that each of these 6 classrooms were occupied by children hiding at that point in time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Now, I'm going to refer back to page 22 of the defendant's journal. Can you please tell the court what the defendant wrote?
I will continue shooting people until police breach the building. I will then surrender to them and plead guilty to life in prison.
Baxter, how was the defendant apprehended?
He, just prior to deputies' arrivals, he placed the gun on a garbage can behind him, got on his knees and put his hands straight up in the air.
So that was directly after he executed Justin Schilling and Keegan Gregory ran for his life. Is that right?
That is correct.
Is there any evidence that the defendant tried to run?
Not at all.
Didn't try to fight?
None.
So in fact, he did a complete surrender like you wrote.
Absolutely.
Now, at that point, the point he surrendered, was there anybody else left to shoot?
No, I mean, at that point, he had, after Keegan Gregory ran out of the bathroom, there was no one left in the bathroom. He came out. The hallways were obviously clear except for law enforcement coming down the hallway. And so there's no more victims for him to.
So at the time the defendant opened the bathroom door and placed his gun on top of the trash can, the police were not next to him. In fact, you couldn't see them at that point.
That's correct.
Refer you to page 21 of the defendant's journal. Can you please tell us what the defendant wrote here?
So in the margin there, it says, I wonder what life in prison will be like.
And then throughout this page, does the defendant write a list of items it appears that he plans to take on November the 30th?
Yes,
Tell us about that, please.
it says 1 9mm pistol, extra mags. And then to the right, it says half blood, and the word underneath that, it says fuck. And then 2 to 5 Molotov cocktails. 1 to 3 powdered, I believe it's NOS flares. Pair of gloves. A hat, jacket, mask, knife.
Now, Lieutenant, I want to take you back to the photograph of your defendant's backpack in the bathroom.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned these cords, these wires. Did that cause the investigators concern when they initially appeared on it?
Yes, so. To explain, our first step is to identify and locate the shooter. That was done. Once he was in custody, we also looked for secondary shooters and, any additional type devices, but we also try to identify victims and sweep the rest of the building. During that sweep, that's when this was discovered. On or around that time, we also became aware of a YouTube video that the defendant made throwing Molotov cocktails. There was some concern by the officers who approached that there may be some secondary device in that bag.
Second device meaning what?
An explosive device. So we notified the Michigan State Police Bomb Squad. They came in to X-ray it.
And of course, this all occurred before anyone ever examined the journal. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Now, he also wrote about a hat, a jacket. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
In reviewing the video, did you discover the defendant changed his appearance before the shooting?
Yes, prior to going in, he has a gray hoodie on, his backpack, no hat. He comes out, it appears that hoodie was just flipped inside out. He dropped his backpack and he's wearing a Blatnick cap.
Now, page 21, the defendant indicated a date and a time, and then read the passage right underneath that.
The date is 11/9/2021 as of 2:13 p.m. I want the world to remember me.